Good afternoon, all. Welcome to the Coastside Fire Protection District Board of Directors regular board meeting, February 28th, 2024. Roll call, please, Gene.
Director Cockrell.
Here.
Director Hannah.
Here.
Director McKinney.
Here.
Director Cheryl. Here. President Burke.
Here. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have any members of the public who would like to address the board at this time? Hearing none, I'll close the public meeting, and I make a motion to approve the consent calendar. I'll note that Director McKinney is asked to be recused from voting and be involved with the consent calendar. I made the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Moved in second. Any comments? Questions? Roll call, please, Jean.
Director Cockrell.
Yes.
Director Hannah.
Yes.
Director Cheryl. Yes. President Burke.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0-1 recusal.
Thank you. Moving on to continued business. Review, discuss, and award public works project for Station 40 bathroom repairs, Chief Cox.
Thank you, President Burke. I'd like to recommend we defer this to continuing business for next month.
Oh, okay, very good. Under item 7, new business update to district fee ordinance, Chief Cox.
Thank you, and I'll hand this to Jean.
Before you, for introduction, is an ordinance which, if adopted, would repeal all previous ordinances and put in place a new fee structure for the district. This comes as a result of 2 meetings that you had in October and November of last year. In October, you looked at a comprehensive fee study that was done by an outside Matrix was the name of the consultant. And it demonstrated that a number of your fees were well below the actual cost of providing that service. And so you took in that information, and one of the recommendations that Matrix made was that you adopt a fee policy, which would set forth a statement of purpose for collection of fees and a recommendation that fees be set at 80%, not 100%, but 80% of cost recovery. And with that direction coming out of that public hearing in November, you asked that we prepare a draft ordinance for your review. And that's what's in front of you today. And the reason we're bringing you a brand new ordinance is we found that over the years, the district has updated specific fees. And so your fee ordinance was actually in bits and pieces here and there, which is not very helpful for your staff or for the public. And so we're asking that you repeal all previous ordinances, adopt this new ordinance, which is in your packet, which provides for 80% cost recovery on everything except smoke detector inspections, which will be left at $25, and credit card transaction fees, which will be at 100% cost recovery. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions on the ordinance, the way it's drafted. I'll defer to the experts on the fees, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Gene. Let me first open a public hearing to see if there's any member of the public who would like to make a comments on our plans for the ordinance. Hearing none, I'll close the public meeting. And Chief Cox, maybe you have any comments on this as well?
Yeah, I think one thing to remember is we're 6 months into this process now. We hired the original Matrix Consulting to take a look at all of our fees. One of the things that was identified is the fire marshal's office does a lot more than was being captured in the current fee schedule. And this is a very thorough undertaking as far as going through methodically about what they do and what we should be charging. I would also say in here, Gene brought up, this is an 80% model. This is not a 100% cost recovery model based on their study. And we did not increase the fee for the fire life safety smoke detector inspections that we do because we believe that provides greater public value than it does revenue to the district.
First of all, we'll have to have a vote on this, right? Let's do this. We have a motion to approve the new fee ordinance for setting fees.
I move to approve ordinance number 2024-01.
Do we have a second? Second. Questions and comments?
Is the difference between 80 and 100, was that part of the discussion? Is it a substantial amount, or are we talking
That was a board,
What was the question?
I just reiterating, so we can bring it back up to the public and myself included, the difference between picking 80 or 100 or 90 or 70.
yeah, so the way that worked is Matrix brought us that first proposal as far as what 100, I think it was 190, 80 would look like. There was multiple options there. That was when they requested a board policy regarding fee recovery as far as what the board would like to see for fee recovery. The board approved an 80% recovery model, and this is the result of that 80% model.
Okay. I guess I have a question and a comment. I can think of one instances where the board has deferred fees. And it would seem to me that in the policy someplace here, just in lieu of something in the future happening, there should be something in here that says that under some circumstances, the board has the authority to vote to defer a fee.
We could bring that back to you if you'd like. That wouldn't be in your ordinance. That would probably be in your policy, which is before you this evening.
Okay, because if I recall correctly, what is the thing that goes on at the airport?
The community,
Brain machine, which we moved in the US year, we've deferred that payment. And there may be others that are appropriate in the future, but if that's the case, we can do it through our policy.
Yes, you may.
Okay, I think that would be, I would think that, give it a leeway if there's something that comes up to take care of it. Other comments, the fees that are in here represents the results of our discussion in October.
correct.
Okay, we've gone through those. Any other observation, comments? It seems to me that, that based upon the staff report here, that I think we said that we last did this in the year 2000. It was timely that we look at it again. And if there's no other questions, we have a motion and we have a second. Then we'll have a vote. Jean, please.
Director Cockrell.
Yes.
Director Hannah.
Yes.
Director McKinney.
Yes.
Director Cheryl. Yes. President Burke.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. That means your ordinance is introduced. We will bring it back to you for a second reading. At your next meeting, it would be operational 30 days thereafter. Thank you.
Thank you.
I had my hand up. I had my hand up for that item.
I'm sorry, Sid, go ahead, please.
Oh, well, I looked on my agenda and it said tab 3 and I couldn't find tab 3 in your packet. So can you tell me, since the specific ordinance wasn't spelled out, what are the fees going to be?
If you, I'm not sure what's happening on your end, but if you go to tab 3, you should see the staff report, and the ordinance in total is attached to the staff report.
But there was no tab 3 on your website, and I don't have your booklet. If you look on the website where you, can check out the tabs, it didn't say tab 3. It went from tab 2 to another tab, and so I couldn't find it.
It's on, it's there.
Tab 3 staff report.
Yeah, if the live agenda, Sid, online, where you see the agenda item, that blue tab to the right is where it's clicked.
Okay, I'm on Coastside Fire Protection District, and it says agenda, and then below that it says tab 2, resolution, Station 40 bathroom project award. Those are the only things on that section. Where did I go in the wrong spot?
Yeah.
I think if you pull up the link for joining the Zoom meeting, and you look at the agenda as it's posted there, you'll see the blue tab 3 under
Yeah.
new business item 7A, and you should be able to open it because I just did that, and that
Okay.
I can see it on my iPad.
All right, I see it now. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right.
So
moving-
it's a bunch of fees, basically, right? It's not just one fee that you're voting in.
That's correct.
Okay, I'll read over it then. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, new business, item D, review, discuss, and approve moving $2 million from the general fund to Lake in accordance with the budget plan. Chief Cox.
Thank you. This is identified in the final budget from September. This is moving money from the general fund, $2 million to LAIF. to bring our Station 44 internal service fund to 14.799.
Discussion, questions? I just, make a couple of observations. One is that, in moving it to the LAIF fund, LAIF is fungible. It's a state fund, local agency investment fund is the acronym. It's a fungible fund, but we've decided to label that money for Station 44. Clearly, we do not know at this point what the costs are going to be, but we wanted to have enough money in reserve to pay for it, so we'll be not talking about any tax increases or any other items that go along with it. So this is just literally moving it from one account to another. I would also add that I noticed today that the LAIF accounts right now are paying a little over 4%. So it's a healthy move financially for the district to do that. But if at any reason, for any reason, the board at some subsequent meeting wanted to move the money around in LAIF and label it differently, we can do that. We have the authority to do it. Anything else on this item? Do I have a motion to approve moving the money from the general fund to LAIF?
So moved.
There's a motion
Second.
and a motion to second. Any further comments? Roll call, please, Jean.
Director Cockrell?
Yes.
Director Hannah?
Yes.
Director McKinney?
Yes.
Director Cheryl? Yes. President Burke?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
This is after the point, but Chief, let me ask you this, on the, what is the other fund that we approved? What's the
Class.
Cal class? Are we in line to put that money in LAIF as well?
The California class money
Yeah.
is in class.
Yeah, no,
1.5 million is in class.
It is,
Yeah.
okay, very good, thank you. Moving on to item C, review and discuss 90% construction plan for Fire Station 41 South Lot. Chief Cox.
Thank you. In front of you is the 90% construction plan that RHAA Architects has delivered to the district. Just a few notes on here. These plans include a sidewalk as well as a meandering path through that south lot property. This was a follow-up from our decision or your decision for option 2 when the 2 options came before you. The only difference with these construction plans is the meandering path now incorporates fire-safe landscaping. So there will be signage and plants that are what are deemed fire-safe. So if a member of the community wants to think about what plants they're going to plant, they can walk this path and see what is native to that area and available. Really the next steps from this project is kind of what I wanted to speak about today. I wanted to introduce Sean Rose, who's here. Some people may know Sean. I'll let him introduce myself, but we have hired Sean to represent the districts on the public works side for this project as far as moving it forward. And I'd like to just kind of get Sean's input about what the next steps would be for the district and what this might look like. Come on,
Sean,
Sean.
welcome your remarks.
Oh, sure, thank you. So as Chief Cox said, my name is Sean Rose. I just got some information on the project, so I know enough to maybe answer a few questions, but I haven't gotten completely, haven't gotten all the information yet to be able to answer all the questions. I have looked a little bit about the process that would be involved to move the project forward. I can talk about that to the board if they would like. And have had a chance to look at the design. I had a few comments myself that I plan to get back to the architect. But I'm really here to just introduce myself and answer any questions that you have on either the design in front of you or the process about from now to getting this project constructed. And I did have a chance to visit the site yesterday just to get oriented to what's out there on the ground.
How did we come up with where the path is going to go, the meandering path? How did that?
I can answer
Chief
that.
Cox on that.
Yeah, so the architects designed that. I believe they brought in an engineer who was looking at angles and elevations to see where it would fit best to get it all the way down.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious if maybe someone had been observing where people are walking
Yeah,
and then saying, oh, we'll put it there.
right.
Okay, thank you.
I think if I could just add to that, I think where it comes up on the uphill side is in line with the bus stop. That's not a requirement, but I think more it was what Chief Cox mentioned, that there was a topographic survey done and indicating, and then the criteria is 5% longitudinal slope max all the way from top to bottom. So that kind of drives where that needs to be, work to achieve that grade.
So you're telling me that they wanted to make one path straight up, and you couldn't do that?
It would meet ADA, I think that was the criteria of the project.
ADA, okay, thank you.
Look, other question, go ahead.
Have we heard from the county whether or not they plan to participate in the cost of the sidewalk?
We have not,
We've not heard from them, or they said no?
we have not heard from them.
Okay, thank you.
Of course, following up on what Director Terrell just said, could we go ahead and do it and bill the county for it? Just say, look, we couldn't wait for you. We want to do this, and so we did it, and, pay us back.
We can try it.
I mean, it's better than let it just sit there. I mean, it's kind of funny if we did all the work, other work, and then left that dirt there.
You know, to your point, do we have an idea of what that plan is? I mean, if there's anyone interested in the sidewalk scope,
Let me add just one other thing, in fact, let me clarify to make sure I understand. But the weaving path is in lieu of the sidewalk,
It is in addition to the
in
sidewalk.
addition to the sidewalk.
Yes, yes.
So the question of having an approval of the sidewalk that the county, on the county land, that project has been approved but not funded.
That project has been recommended as a part of their Connect the Coastside plan,
But not funded,
not funded.
okay. So that would still be waiting in the wings to be completed if we agree to this recommendation.
Correct, so the plan in front of us has the sidewalk.
Yeah.
And it has a meandering path for the plants, for people to see what fire safe plants there are through
But is the meandering path where people would walk down?
no, they would walk down the sidewalk.
I misunderstood.
Yeah, the meandering path is really a way to provide fire education resources on the fire district's property while also putting landscaping.
I understand.
like a little botanical garden of fire safe.
Yeah,
Other questions? So,
Has Supervisor Bullock or Bueller been told about this?
I have not informed you right now.
The answer is yes. I called his office 3 times, asked for a meeting, did not receive a positive response.
Did you
Any
receive,
other questions?
you did receive a response?
Did not.
Did you receive a response or did you?
No.
No response.
The other related to this, just one other thing. We had at some point in time, the question of signage on that lot came up. And if we're going to hopefully do something with that lot, it seems to me that approving and looking at some kind of appropriate signage should be done at the same time. Whether that's a different contract and so forth, but I recall that our peers at the Algonata Community District wanted some kind of a sign, and we sent them a plan to look at this, and they approved, and thought the plan was okay. But it is the entrance to El Granado, and I wouldn't delay this for the signage, but I would ask that something's going on concurrent with this, that we put some kind of a really nice looking sign that says Coastside Fire Protection. I don't know what it would say, but El Granado Station, Coastside Fire District, something that would identify it. Because if you look at that building coming down, 90% of the people don't know what the heck it is. That would be my request. Any other comments, questions, or?
I think we should find out the cost, and I'm not saying we should pay for it and ask for
Well,
payback for it, but I think we should at least know what it would be, and and we know that the whole reason, primary reason we've been discussing this for over a year now is more than a year, go back years, it's for the safety and security of the thousands of people that walk from
absolutely.
the bus stop to the street to then the coast, and at some point, we're gonna have to.
You're absolutely right. You know, I happen to be driving by there, it happened to be raining and on top of the light there. and a lady with a stroller was walking down in the mud. coming
Exactly,
down
the
that-
example I was gonna give is like, there's always a stroller and a dog and a leash and then there's,
Oh, yeah.
and it's like, there's nothing on the other side either, so. and- Look
You know,
into it.
I think maybe, and I'm not sure how. Policy point of view or political point of view to do it, but perhaps, chief, if I could ask that the letter be sent from the Coastside Fire Protection District to the planning department saying that we want it, and I hope we can do this in no more than 2 paragraphs at the most, saying that we would like to have it done. We think it's, because we're doing some work with the landscaping, we think it's a safety issue, health problem. And frankly, just tell us, it's either yes, no, you won't do it, or when. I mean, we've been doing this now, but I think we even had Kerry looking at this some time ago. And we just get pushed back, but we need an answer.
And would it not behoove us to also maybe send that letter to Supervisor Mueller? Supervisor Mueller did not respond to your request.
Copy in.
Let's copy in.
Well, oh, yes, absolutely, yeah. We'd like to have
We
it,
need some, all this.
sure, we'd like to have this.
Drag it
And
on.
don't take my comments, relative to speaking to him and no responses in a negative way. It was relatively new in his term, he had a hell of a lot going on, and I'm not sure what happened, and I did not follow up, okay? All right,
One note, and Sean and I discussed it, the cost estimates that we originally got are over a year old now, and you think that they're probably out of date.
Yeah, the cost estimates that are in your staff report towards the back were for 2 options. There were 2 costs provided by the estimator. Those date back to November 2022. And the second option is the one that's pretty much, it's very similar to this alternative. The only main difference is that what's before you now in the 90% drawing that's in front of your staff report is that option 2 didn't have the meandering path. It had the sidewalk, but it didn't have the meandering path. So assuming other costs, assuming everything else would be the same, there would be we'd expect some additional costs above what that option 2 estimate was, and that was 258.
So then you're saying this 258,000 is not a misprint of what?
The 258 that was in the November cost estimate, we can expect that to be higher because of the addition of the meandering path.
Thank you.
any other comments or questions? Then, do we have, I forget, do we have a motion to approve the 90% construction plans for stage Southwater Station 41?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
I would just say that, finding out more information about getting a sidewalk, could impact whether or not we do a path. I mean, I understand the path's purpose of looking at the plant, it's fantastic. It's not a massively large area though. And we could still have signage for cool plants. People could read about it as they're walking up the sidewalk. And we're talking about, I don't know what the dimensions are, but it's not a large thing per se, outline. And if or the sidewalk gets put in by the county at their dime, great. If not, I don't know how much more we'd be talking about to increase the budget from 250 or 200 to 300 or for a path, I don't know. But I know that usually when we go out for a bid for something like this, it goes up a lot. And if we were going to look at all at any point into putting money into the sidewalk ourselves, maybe we should, maybe that's where that should come from potentially, but that's all. We should get some more information on the sidewalk.
Well, it's frustrating, but we'd be sitting here a year from now waiting for the county to make a decision. I just think we need to get moving on getting
We
something.
can reconsider just doing it ourselves.
Well, I think that's one of the options, and then the question comes up to, again, we recover the costs and all that, and that's another whole challenge to do it, but let's take it one step at a time. We got a motion of the board on the floor to support this, and a second. Any further questions? Roll call, please, Jean.
Director Cockrell?
Yes.
Director Hannah?
Yes.
Director McKinney?
Yes.
Director Cheryl?
Yes.
President Burke?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
President Rick, if I can just interject really quick.
I'm sorry.
President, if I can just interject really quick.
Sure.
I just, before Sean sits down, just want to introduce Sean is also leading the process for the pre-qualification of contractors for Station 44.
And
So we will be hearing more from Sean as well when we get to the process of choosing a contractor. He's leading that RFP process.
Terrific.
thank you.
Great, Sean. Look forward to working with you.
Nice to meet you. Nice to
Thank
meet
you
you.
very much.
Thank you.
Very good. Moving on to, new business, item D, weed abatement, Chief Cox.
Thank you. This is, a notice inviting bids, I'm sorry, this is my staff report. Yeah, notice inviting bids for the, weed abatement program, for this year. This will be, advertised and we will, be securing a contractor to complete the work for the lots that don't get cleared by the property.
Do I have a motion to authorize the chief to, advertise for weed abatement contracts?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second,
Do we have any further discussion, comments? Pretty boilerplate. Roll call, please, Jean.
Director Cockrell?
yes.
Director Hannah?
Yes.
Director McKinney?
Yes.
Director Cheryl?
Yes,
President Berg?
Yes,
Motion passes 5-0.
thank you. We're gonna be waiting more, yeah. That's, no, we'll be fine. Let's move on, if you will, we're gonna skip and wait a little bit for item E, and we'll move on to the board of directors report, all of them will. Okay. First of all, finance committee, report, we did not have a meeting, Jamie Cockrell and I, but, in the packet that's available for, public viewing is a list of all the expenses for the month as well as year to date. I would just say that this is 7 months into the year. I find nothing that's, unusual. We're some 66% of our annual budget revenue that we planned upon. It's a little bit deceiving that we're only 26% of expenses, but that's because CAL FIRE has a strange way of billing us. So we have not received the billing from CAL FIRE, which is the cost of that. The late amount of money is, as mentioned earlier, is going over almost $14 million. The class has been invested, and I don't see anything that, at least that I can see, that is unusual or unexpected. Any question, JD, or
No,
comments?
I'm just talking about, there's enough money in the can to pay our bills.
Yeah, it's a little bit unusual no, I guess it's unusual. We're trying to be very conservative with 44 and keeping money in there. And I said earlier, we're not exactly sure what that contract is ultimately going to be, but hopefully we're well positioned financially that it will not be any additional burden for us. But that's it. Anything else on the finance? No. Okay. Moving on. Land and Structures Committee report. Director McKinney, Director Cheryl.
Chief Silva.
For the land and structures, I have Austin on there that can discuss the 44 project, where that thing's at. Austin, you want to give a little brief update?
Yeah, hi everyone. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yeah,
Yes.
Jocelyn.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you guys for inviting me here today. It's nice to see many familiar faces there. Yeah, so quick overview of the Station 44 progress. The project currently it's complete through the design development phase. We completed that phase, I would say, late November, early December. The DD phase, as we like to call it, that's sort of our second phase along the path. We go from schematic design into design development, then to construction documents. And so in the DD phase, we're adding a little extra detail to the plan. We're kind of sorting through our various systems, making sure everything fits together, putting together kind of our first pass at detailed drawings and plans, etc. And so that's where we're at currently. The project was submitted to the planning department back in September. We have not received approval at this time, and in fact, we're still waiting on comments from a couple of the agencies. So as part of that planning submittal, they've stated that we need a coastal development permit, design review permit, a use permit, as well as a variance So at the moment, we're still waiting on comments from the geotech and the drainage review. But in the meantime, we have made adjustments to our original submittal based on the feedback that we have received thus far. So some of those adjustments include, revisions to our exterior materials. We had some comments about the red color that we had shown on the apparatus bay. So we're looking at replacing that with more of a warm wood tone, wood texture. Also looking at the large Station 44 graphic that we had previously shown. That's now replaced with the district logo. There was also some comments on exterior lighting, and we have a few options in mind to help kind of ease the concerns of those who made the comments, but also make sure that the facility can function properly. So once we have planning approval and confirmation that we'll receive this variance that we need, then we'll be jumping into the next phase of the project, which will be our construction document phase. And beyond that, we're also helping out on the temporary facility, and those drawings for that temp facility have also been submitted to the planning department as of last month. I think that sums it up for now. Any questions or comments? I'd be happy to answer. Go ahead, Cynthia.
How much delayed are we based on the lack of timely comments from the reviewing agencies?
I would say at this point, we are maybe 2 months behind what our previous schedule had shown. Some of that we can make up as we move into the next phase. I think we had a generous amount of time for our construction document phase, but we still do have just kind of an unknown timeline for when we're going to get approval from planning.
Is there anything that we can do to encourage them to prioritize this project?
Well, I do have a contact at the planning department that I've been in regular communication with. The two agencies that we do not have comments from are third-party review agencies for the county. So they don't do those in-house, they sub those out apparently. And last I had heard is that they are having a hard time getting a response from those groups that they sent the drawings to for review. So in the meantime, I'm checking in regularly with our contact there and trying to get clarity on, hey, can we at least get confirmation on the comments that we do have and maybe partial approval on those, while we wait for these other reviews to wrap up.
Thank you.
Anything else? Just I have a question, and perhaps you mentioned this and I didn't catch it. Is the decision been made that we need to get a full EIR on that project, or is there some abbreviated version?
Yeah, so the word back on that is no EIR is required, and we are exempt from CEQA.
Whoa.
Good.
Yeah,
Terrific.
so the environmental reviews has been favorable for us.
Oh, that would be a help. Absolutely. Wow, terrific.
And you brought this project along so smoothly so far. It is a shame that these third-party agencies are now causing us to be 2 months behind.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. That's something that's out of our control, and these agency reviews are always, sort of a variable that, there's only so much we can do on these kinds of things, but we're happy to keep reaching out to the county and hopefully prod them along as much as we can.
Thank you, Austin.
Sid, you had a question?
No, just really a comment. Your architect came to the Midcoast Community Council and everybody was really pleased. I think we did, or the public did bring up the red color, but the main issue, and I'm sure you're already aware, is that they really, really want to have the Dark Skies Initiative lighting. So hopefully you guys are looking into that kind of lighting, and I know at one point we talked about maybe having the amber kind of lights if it's going to be on tall poles or something, because that's not as bright as some of the LED clear lighting, but I don't know what you guys decided, so I just wanted to bring that up. And
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry the other districts or agencies aren't towing the line fast enough. I'm pretty sure we submitted our comment already. Thank you.
Thank you, Sid. I have just two other quick ones. One is that we still, I'm not looking for a date, but we still need to have another community at some point in time once the timing is right. And also, what's the status of the temporary facility?
So hopefully by the end of the week, Monowitz is in charge of the building department, the building official. He said he should have an answer by the end of the week for us on the permitting process. We do have to go through CEQA, he believes, on that one. We can't get an exemption. And they are looking to do the technical reviews and a bunch of other stuff, so there's a bunch of hoops we still have to jump through on that one, but we should have more detail by the end of the week, hopefully.
Any further questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Austin.
Thanks, Austin.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Let me make a suggestion that we go back to item E on our regular agenda. Recognize the Coastside Fire volunteer firefighters for years of service. And at this point, and we'll finish the remainder of our agenda after this particular area. And is it Chief Cox or Chief Lod who is going to be?
Yeah, we'll go together, I think, yeah. All right, maybe we can invite each one of these people up individually, and we'll have Chad come up first, if you don't want to chat. Where are you at? Yeah, center stage. So I'll just read really quickly. The report to the board is that we want to acknowledge and celebrate the remarkable dedication and service of 4 members of the Coastside Volunteer Firefighter Program. These individuals have collectively contributed over 140 years of service to the community, demonstrating unwavering commitment and bravery. Their invaluable contributions have not only enhanced the safety and well-being of the Coastside area, but also set a commendable standard for future volunteers. Coastside Fire District prides itself in a rich tradition of volunteerism and community service. Our volunteers are fundamental to our operation, playing a critical role in emergency response, public safety education, and community engagement. Recognizing the length of service of our volunteers is an essential aspect of honoring their commitment and fostering a culture of appreciation and respect within our ranks. So to start off with a 10-year acknowledgement and award is Coastside Fire Volunteer Fire Captain Chad Fairbrother. Since joining as a volunteer fire captain, Fairbrother has shown remarkable growth, achieving the rank of engineer and volunteer fire captain. Captain Fairbrother was the first volunteer captain to achieve the rank of fire captain, having satisfied the district's rigorous training requirements. Captain Fairbrother has dedicated over 100 days of ride-alongs with engine companies. This is in his addition to the countless general alarms that Captain Fairbrother has also responded to in between all the time that he's not in the air flying airplanes around the world. With that, just want to congratulate you on 10 years and thank you, Chad. All right, next up, Coastside Volunteer Fire Captain Greg Hopfeld. All right. Volunteer Fire Captain Hopfeld has served in various capacities, bringing extensive knowledge and expertise to the district. Captain Hopfeld has a background in public agency administration that has assisted the organization. Captain Hopfeld has been a key individual in the mentoring and training of volunteer firefighters, demonstrating exceptional skill and dedication. Captain Hopfeld has also served on the board of directors. I personally got to know Captain Hopfeld when I was a captain here and have had unwavering respect for you since then. So a huge congratulations on a whopping 35 years of service. All right, next up, Coastside Volunteer Fire Captain Neil Soloway. Yeah. All right, with a commendable half century of service, 50 years, Volunteer fire captain Solway's experience spans across various facets of firefighting and emergency response. Captain Solway's extensive PG experience has served the district well over the years. Captain Solway also contributes to his neighborhood CERT team,
Yes.
known for his leadership in critical incidents and helping to write the specifications for our Central States fire engines. He is the past recipient of the Volunteer Firefighter of the Year Award. His unwavering years of service to the district have had a widespread positive impact on the entire coastside community. You were someone, when I was here years ago as a captain, I used to come to you with all the questions and you always had the answer, and can't say enough about all the knowledge and expertise you have. Congratulations. And finally, Coastside Volunteer Fire Chief Roger Pimentel. All right, we got a special paragraph here. Volunteer Fire Chief Pimentel has served the district for over 45 years, rising through the ranks to become the volunteer fire chief. He has been instrumental in key initiatives, including helping to foster great relationships throughout the community. Chief Pimentel has also served on the board of directors. His community impact has benefited many, as he has been a pivotal figure in several community programs and a mentor to many current firefighters. I will add to that and say, you have been a consummate professional to work with and someone who has been unwavering in just your patience and steadfastness. So 45 years, I appreciate it and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
We're just gonna take a quick photo here real quick. Yep.
My words on it.
Yeah.
And we like. Yeah, should I?
No.
Yeah. That way?
You go.
This way. Just not in front of the screen. In front of the podium. Yeah. So, in front of the podium. Yeah, there you go.
Go ahead. I'm the one that don't have to read. Get up close. Get in here.
I'll embarrass him,
just for-
It's not the first time.
And don't worry, I'm doing paparazzi style, I'm sure she is too, so we'll pick the best one. There we go. One of those will be good.
In taller than I am, that'll work.
All right, so just to close it, I wanted just a huge round of applause for 140 years of service.
Hey, before you go, gentlemen, let me just add one other thing, from a point of view of the board, and if any other board members would like to make a comment. First and foremost, the recognition is long overdue. I mean, the volunteers and your contributions to this community, the effort you put into it is outstanding, and we sometimes don't appreciate it or know about it in time, but certainly it's long overdue, and I congratulate every one of you for your outstanding job. Our note here today has a line in it that I think is very appropriate. It says, your invaluable contributions have not only enhanced the safety and well-being of the coastside area, but also set a commendable standard for future volunteers. And you certainly have done that, and we all thank you. You know, I know you do it. You spend all the time and effort to do it. It's not for pay. It's not for recognition. It's your dedication to this community, and we all thank you for your service. Thank you. Hey, one other thing while you're still there. A critical instrument in our volunteer program is the Chief Lord, who is behind the scene here, but he is, I don't have the number of years, the times things, but I'm certainly the number of hours and years that he is dedicated to enhancing our volunteer program is just outstanding. And it would not be where it is today without his effort. Chief Lord, thank you very much on behalf of. Thank you. Sid, you had a question, a comment?
I'm sorry, that was from before. I'll take it down. Sorry.
I know you're all thrilled to stay for the rest of the night, meeting, but you're not.
Right now, gotta go start it.
Anybody, thanks for that, thank you.
See you, Jeff, you got it, these guys.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm driving you up. Let's go. What's your name? Back to item D, Vegetation Management Committee report, Director Carpenter, Director Hannah.
I don't think I have anything to add before we discuss the board.
Today, prior to the main board meeting, we held a committee meeting, so maybe take a moment to get that kind of together and compare things to the next board, but
Okay,
nothing to add.
very good. Okay. Special District Association, Director Hannah.
No report.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. ALS JPA liaison, there was no meeting on that thing. Emergency preparedness liaison, do we have,
No cause rate today
no, okay,
and no, information from him.
no report?
No report.
Cert report, Director Cheryl.
Cert report, we start this evening, spring cert, we have 37 new certs lined up, ready to train, including 6 Kaufman Bay High School students. We're thrilled about that, we'll have about 37 people here tonight, starting, at 6:15. And they'll come back on Saturday for an all-day thing, and then they'll be back Wednesday evening. And then the following Saturday, we'll have the big training day and graduation, where they will be joined by the 7 folks who came in from the online classroom chat, because you can do it in person or online. And then that group will be joined by about 40 existing certs from across the coastline who come to support their success on training day and refresh their own skills. So we are very proud of this new group. And we'll have, 37 new certs at the end of the day on March 9th. And the only other thing I have to report is we are making progress on the SOPs. We have incorporated all of the changes that we discussed as a group. And they are now in the hands of our leadership team. So as soon as they've had a couple of weeks to review them, we meet on the second Thursday of March. And after that, we will be bringing them back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia. Great, great job. Attorney's report.
This isn't so much a report as a question to you. Earlier you directed that the chief, draft a letter that would go to the planning department. At the break, and this is in regard to Station 41, the South Lot, the sidewalk issue. At the break, the chief and I talked for a moment. It would seem to me that it'd be more appropriate that letter go to Mike Callaghy.
To who?
To Mike Callaghy. The planning department doesn't really fund projects. I mean, it's really,
Okay.
so if that's
Who is
okay.
Mike Callaghy?
He's the chief administrative officer.
Oh.
For the county.
Oh,
General manager.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that
Yeah.
approval from
With,
you,
with,
that will
the
be,
appropriate thing is with the carry copy to the supervisor.
yes.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Very appropriate.
And I
Thank you.
just want to look back for a second because I'm remiss in not saying thank you to Coastside Fire Protection District for allowing us to have all of these people. It's sort of a home invasion for you all for the next period of time, and everyone has been gracious and supportive. Thank you. And we really appreciate the support the training office is giving us. Chief Lord is going to be a part of the instruction team this time. And Captain Leanstein has done everything possible, including, thank you, 6 new fire extinguishers
Of course.
for our training program. So we are filled with gratitude for the Coastside Fire Protection District sponsorship.
Great. Gene, did you have anything else?
No, that was it. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Fire marshal's report.
Patrick he couldn't make it to this portion, so he gave me his report. Plan reviews for the month are 36, inspections are 20. And they're just continuously, fielding comments, questions, and concerns from the public on a daily basis and helping them with their wildland type concerns, their neighbors' complaints with tree downs and all that stuff, et cetera. So they're continuing to stay busy, and they have a lot of, fairly large projects that they're working on continuously, so definitely staying busy.
Very good. Thank you. Chief report. Chief Cox.
All right, a few things. First of all, I had a meeting with Captain Alvin from the Sheriff's Office, as well as Captain McKenna from State Parks, Director Calderon from County Parks, and myself, just to speak about coast rescues and the water rescue responses along the coast. Great meeting, just collaborating about what we all do and making sure we're all familiar with each other's capabilities. Talk a lot about UASs and drones and water responses. A good experience to know what everyone's capable of for water rescues. As you met earlier, Sean Rose, we have a professional services agreement, or 2 service agreements with him. One for the 44 pre-qualification for contractors and one for the Fire Station 41 North Lot. From last month's meeting, President Burke, you asked about getting all of the board policies on the website. That is a work in progress now, so we're going back and building all the policies. Michelle's going to set up a dedicated site so we can do that. That also has inspired us, although a longer and bigger project, is to actually get a copy of all of our old ordinances on the site as well, so we have it all historically on there. So if that's also gonna be a work in progress, but I would love to one day be able to just click on it and not have to do anything. We continue to work with Montero Water on a hydrant agreement, a hydrant maintenance agreement. I hope to have something back on that sooner than later. It seems to be a couple sticking points that we're trying to iron out at the moment. And we did execute the MOU with State Parks to move the old ERV trailer to Kelly State Beach. So that should be moving here in the next few days or weeks. As Director Cheryl mentioned, we met with CERT on the policy manual. I just have to say, I didn't expect those meetings to go as well as they went. Like, they've been really good meetings. We've really hashed out a lot about how CERT operates, how the procedures and policies work. So I found it super beneficial, for nothing else, to understand and get to know CERT a little bit better. We are still waiting on confirmation on our district of distinction that was submitted earlier this year. So we've not heard official word back. When we do, we'll make sure we bring it to the board. And Gina and I have been having quite a few conversations with CalPERS regarding the final termination of that miscellaneous account. We plan to have that brought to you at next month's board meeting for that final decision.
That's 2024.
That's 2024. I had a good call with their actuarial today, so I think it's going the right direction. And then we mentioned earlier, the California class account we have funded, it should show up in next month's at that 1.5 million. As far as staff goes, we held interviews for the staff service analyst position behind Chris. We're in the background process now. We should have news here in the near future based on an offer we're gonna make. And though he has left the room, Captain Joe Santos is officially retiring as of tomorrow morning. So I expect to acknowledge him some way next month at the board meeting, but he has been instrumental from the beginning of CAL FIRE being in the district. Yeah, we'll catch it next month.
Okay.
And make sure we get you know, because that's a good one. The community 2023 annual community report is being sent out. It's gone to the printer, so you should see that hit your mailbox soon. Any spell check errors, please call me, because I always get them. Coastside Fire has been hosting a driver operator class here for the volunteer firefighters. And then just finally, we have received the new Battalion 10 Charlie vehicle. So that vehicle is going into service. The old Battalion 10 Charlie vehicle will become a reserve battalion vehicle. And we're still awaiting our 2 engines, the Type 3 and the Type 1.
Can I add 2 things? I have a Samtrans update too.
Oh, perfect.
So, Samtrans, what's been the holdup is they're actually redoing all of their key card accesses for all their facilities. They're upgrading to a better system. So they didn't want to come out here and install an old system when they're upgrading all the facilities. So basically they're tightening up their security and doing a better system. So once they get all that done with all their original facilities, then they'll reach back out to us. They want the contract to still stand and then upgrade this facility to match all their new systems.
Good.
If I can just add one piece.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I just had a couple of questions. How will this hybrid agreement include cleaning up the brush around them?
Yeah.
So they're visible?
I believe it does.
What's that?
The hydrant agreement with Montera, it's cleaning a little bit of brush.
Yeah, so it would basically make the hydrants visible to the fire engine, putting the blue dots on the ground, and then servicing the caps and the stems on them, making sure they're in service and ready to go.
Okay. Then another comment, I don't know what the hiring criteria is for the people in the office. But it must be good because we keep getting very good people who then move on to something higher, somewhere else. So obviously, whatever you're doing, keep doing it.
All right.
Yeah, I just wanted to take a real quick second and recognize, you haven't heard anything about Norm, have you? The passing of Norm Giacoto, who lived here. He lived here in the district, raised his family here in the district for many decades. Public servant for a long time, was a police officer for Half Moon Bay, and then he was the fire marshal here for the fire district, prior to CAL FIRE. His son, one of his sons, Ken, is a very good friend of ours. He's the deputy chief for Central County Fire on the other side of the hill. So he passed peacefully at home a couple of weeks ago, but just if you would please keep the Giacoto family in your thoughts, and thank you for the time on that.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Anything further to that? We'll take a few moments for board comments, because I have just a couple of things that one thing on the finance, going back to the finance, I want to mention, I'm sure you've all seen this thing. To say that the state of California is in a little bit of confusion relative to their finances is a gross understatement. I mean, they are talking about, depending on which day it is, anywhere from 40 to 80 billion dollars difference between what the governor is saying and what the analyst office is saying. And one of the things that I'm sure that CAL FIRE has noticed, that one of the theoretical ways they're going to try to balance that difference is, if you will, in fire equipment and that type of thing. I'm not sure where that stands, but that scares me that they're going to be, in lieu of what the kind of wildfires we've had the last few months, that to reduce funding in that critical area seems to me to be not a very smart decision. But the very fact that they had such a deficit is going to come down and affect us in some ways, in many ways. I can just bet on it, because it happened a few years ago, and it'll happen again to do that. Just a couple other quick notes is that, so I shouldn't wait till he's back, but, I noticed that I got from a note from California Special District Association that their annual, conference has been scheduled in September. And I know we've gone to it, it's, I don't know if you get the notice, but it's in September 9th, it's in Palm Springs, which they seem to like, but they have, you can make up some of the things you need, the district of distinction, as well as, I find it interesting just to get an opportunity to mix with some other people, just to see what the heck is happening, but that's, if you're interested, that's on, in September 9th, it begins. The other related thing is that, and Bruce, you may remember this, that for many years, the Havana Bay Chamber of Commerce, I guess it's the Coastside Chamber, has a farm day. And it's a large gathering that goes on at the IDS Hall here. And for as long as I knew, up until COVID, we always participated. Various members of the board went, frankly, the fire chief went, some other people went, because the people from other county supervisors come, many people from the other special districts were there as well. That they're having that farm day on the 22nd of this month. And Chief, I would like to ask if you could check with the Chamber of Commerce and maybe just survey at least the board to see whether you are available, would like to attend, and then get a head count and buy us some tickets. It's just a great way to talk to some people in informal ways, and have a great lunch.
Did you say the 22nd of March?
22nd, is that what you're, yeah. There's a poster out here, one of these signs outside. And I went online to see if I could find anything more about it. I simply couldn't find it. They say they have a website, but I'm sure the Chamber of Commerce would have it, but it's a worthwhile event if you're available to do that. What's the status of the old engine out here?
It's gonna be sold, it's being surplus.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
It's in John's line of items to surplus.
okay, all right. Last item I have on my, just to get you the board's opinion on this. We get requests, and I don't know whether they go to the chief or to individual board members regarding supporting various pieces of legislation. Either yes or no, or that type of thing. I mean, we don't get that many of them, but it just so happens in the last couple of weeks, I guess, I've had, I think, 4 pieces, 4 requests to support or oppose various pieces of legislation at the county or the state level. And in my opinion, in the past, it was just really not appropriate, or we didn't have the resources to really kind of get into the nuts and bolts, because every piece of legislation that's proposed in support, there's always somebody that's against it. So trying to balance it and understand it is challenging. In any 2-year legislative session, the legislature will publish roughly between 6,000 and 7,000 pieces of legislation. And there's always people that are for and against every one of those. So it's difficult. However, with that as background, there are things that really affect us. And that I think it's appropriate for us to take a position on. The question is, how do we do that? And here's one of the problems is that the timing of it is such that a particular bill comes up, something in particularly at the state level, that we're not ready for a board meeting. So you got to get some kind of action in between time. And the other thing is you try to get consensus and try to make sure that we understand what it is we're doing. And I'm not even remotely suggesting that we, take a position on everything, but there are things that the California Special District Association particularly takes positions on, that some of whom would directly affect us. And just having our name on a letter of support or opposition and so forth, I think would be valuable to us. Having said that, I don't have any solution, but I guess what I would like to ask Chief is that on our next agenda, we just put on there just a discussion as to whether or not how we would, if and when and how we would get involved with taking positions on various pieces of legislation. And then just discuss it just a little more to get our ideas out of it, okay? I don't know if it's a committee or, but let's just discuss it, whether we should do it. Maybe the answer is no, but sometimes if it comes to me, I just feel a little bit awkward, you know, sending a letter or not sending a letter, I just need to, okay? And maybe there's some other, by the way, some other fire districts that have a process way of doing that, that would help us, come to some kind of some action together. That's
Would
all.
there be a chance we could join up with some others and
Maybe.
do stuff jointly?
Yeah. Yeah, there's well, I won't go through it now, but, you know, and some of the things that are, I guess I don't have it readily at hand, but one of the items that was, we were asked by one of the board of supervisors was to get involved with a piece of legislation having to do with mental health and so forth. They wanted our fishing. Well, you know, those are pretty obvious. I mean, that's certainly not something that we would probably do. But some of the others, I think, are probably, and I noticed that some of the pieces of legislation that the California Special District Association takes a position on, a lot of other fire districts around do take positions, and maybe the beneficial to us to do it. But I think it's worthy of a discussion, that's all. Okay. Anything else? Without objection, we are adjourned. Thank you.